We have a lot to talk about this week. Bloomburrow being one of them. Path of Exile boat season being really good. Diablo 4 Season 5, my first 2 hours I've played because I had to do this. And then maybe, if we get enough time, some Secret Lair shenanigans. But first, my name is Dom Douglas, and I am back-to-back XWW Commentator of the Year. With that comes some responsibilities, but also a lot of fun and excitement, and I'm never ashamed to look like a complete fool. Speaking of that, I love playing Magic the Gathering, so much so that I kind of think I play it a little bit too much, and I have some opinions. So now, XtremeTVOnline.com and XWW Wrestling on YouTube presents my podcast where I talk about Magic the Gathering. It's the Goblin Grenade Podcast. Goblin Grenade Podcast, that's right. My name is Dom Douglas. Once again, thank you for watching on XWW's YouTube channel as we hit almost 30 episodes this year alone. I know, it's a record for me on podcasts. I've done quite a few podcasts under various names, even this one, Goblin Grenade, a couple of years ago. And it barely got out of episode 10. I thought I'd have a co-host by now. Apparently that's never going to happen. So here we go with this week's shenanigans. As you see my trash bags, not really, it's just some grocery bags back there. Whatever. Well, I'm going to start with Bloomburrow. Did the draft last week. Unfortunately, XWW had to cancel our show due to inclement weather. So the day before, I went out, got some draft action in, some commander action in, bought a ton, traded some cards in too to get, a lot of Bloomburrow. I got a bundle. I got the Squirrel Commander deck. I got the pre-release. I bought actually 5 fetch lands because they're the lowest they will ever be at this moment in time. Do not wait if you are a fetch land collector, especially the Modern Horizon 3 ones. They are now around that $10 to $13 range, and they are prime targets for obtaining. Obtaining them now is key, and it'll be the least expensive until they reprint them again 10 years from now. So just look at the Modern Horizons 2 fetch lands. Those are now back up to $20-$30 a piece. And, they're 10 to $15 right now a pop. So I got 5 of them. I bought a bunch of heavily played cards because they need homes too. A playmat because the raccoon I forgot my playmat, wanted to get a playmat, saw they had the Bloomburrow playmats, didn't have the squirrel, but had the raccoon, and that was cute AF, so I decided to get that one. Then, what else did I get? Yeah, a pre-release kit, because I missed out on that. So I got a ton of stuff, and I upgraded sleeves, and I got a couple more boxes for Bloomburrow, like card boxes, because I'm now rapidly eclipsing 30 commander decks, and 2 of them aren't sleeved up yet because I didn't have sleeves, and now I do, and I'm going to immediately need more sleeves because I don't have enough sleeves. This is the life of a commander player, folks. You will never have enough sleeves, just like you will never have enough command towers, soul rings, and arcane signets. It's just a fact of life. Either way, Bloomburrow, the draft environment is so much fun. This set itself is so much fun. Yes, I just shook my whole table again and again because why? This set is so good. There's so much passion behind this set, and it brought me back to the way Magic used to be, and not like 10 years ago. I'm talking for me personally. It brought me back to how I was when I first got into the game when I was 15 years old, when the game was almost barely 2 years old at that point. So yeah, I've been playing this game for a long time, and it brought me back. It was that certain magic, no pun intended, of discovery, of clean play, not being muddled with all these ridiculous things, not being overloaded with 18,000 mechanics and 10,000 bonus sheets. Outlaws of Thunder Junction, the base set itself, if you look at it, should be a really fun draft environment. But not only did it have a overtly printed bonus sheet, but it also had to put in the big score cards because Aftermath was such a failure. Aftermath being the 5 card pack shenanigans that Wizards tried to do after March of the Machines. March of the Machines Aftermath, and it didn't work. Nobody bought it. And there's 3 cards that are playable, and those 3 cards spiked in value because nobody was buying 5 cards for the same price that I can get 15 for. And they decided in their best interest to get rid of the set and not sell it, and combined it with Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which means Outlaws of Thunder Junction draft, for me, is the single-handed worst draft experience ever. It is, because there's too much going on. You have the bonus sheets, and I think there was 2 bonus sheets. You have, or at least all cards on a sheet of cards, which I think is like 36 cards on a sheet, if I'm not mistaken. All were different cards. And then you had the other 50 cards. So what was a 300 something card set, standard set, now became a 500 card monstrosity? So that was my biggest complaint about Outlaws of Thunder Junction's draft environment. But Bloomburrow has a very small bonus sheet where I think it's only 20 cards, if that, and they're not crazy powerful. And also, they're not opened as frequently as they were in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Every pack, it seemed, in Outlaws of Thunder Junction, and even Murders at Karlov Manor, had a bonus card in it from the bonus sheet or 2 that they printed. Fun fact, also, the list is no longer a thing, and Wizards got rid of that very quietly. Wizards of the Coast definitely has gotten rid of the list, and I don't think it's needed anymore. Because you have bonus sheet stuff now, and you have the fact that you print 18,000 different products in a calendar month. Not even a year. Because with Bloomburrow, there's the base set, there's the bundle, there's the arena starter kit, which I need to pick up still. There's the 4 commanders, there's the collector's booster, there's the pre-release kit. They're even experimenting again with an 8 card simple booster. Don't buy those. Please don't. Don't give Wizards any more fucking ideas. Wizards of the Coast learned their lesson with Aftermath, we thought. And now if you catch it, you can get an 8 card pack of Bloomburrow with almost no value. It depends on how much they are. If they're $1 a piece, I can see a interesting night of spending $6, getting those cards and trying to get a deck together with you and your friends just to futz around and find out, not even draft or buy a bunch and draft them, but I don't see a purpose to these cards. And that's the edge case. If they are the same price if they are like $3, you might as well just get a play booster at that point. But I am having I know Wizards does a lot of great things with Bloomburrow, but they've also kind of, the play boosters was the only thing that really got the short boosters, or whatever they're called. They're the ones that, like, it annoyed me, but I have not seen one in person yet, nor do I know the price of it, price of that particular product. But going back to what I was trying to say before, Bloomburrow is an amazing set. The magic, it's a magical time in Magic the Gathering, and it is without a shadow of a doubt the best draft environment that I've gotten into in the last decade, since I got back into the game, since Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. And Kamigawa Neon Dynasty for me was so not even a blip on my radar, because I've always felt there was a revisionist history with the Kamigawa set. It was bad for a reason. There wasn't much fun in that set when it originally came out, the OG Kamigawa. And I think a lot of people had rose-tinted glasses on, and they still do when it comes to the original Kamigawa set, that it was not fun. That it was fun. It's not. It's a pretty bad draft environment. It was a pretty bad standard environment. No fun to be had. And so I was like, all right, it's going to be one of these things where it's a really bad unilateral standard draft environment. No, I was wrong. And I've never been more happy to be that wrong. Kamigawa was an amazing standard environment, was a beautiful draft environment as well. And Bloomburrow has that beautiful draft environment and also that beautiful standard environment. Folks, I still have packages coming in from TCG Player with the rest of my hold on to your butts standard set. A standard deck. Yes, I bought a standard deck, and it's going to be mice with Mabel as the linchpin to the entire deck, and it's going to be beautiful and amazing the 3 times I play it in person, but I've been playing it on Arena a lot, and it is so much fun. Now, I have 2 different versions, a budget version, the one, 3 actually, the one I rock and the one I'm going to be rocking in real life, the budget version for budget conscious players when I get around to those videos, which I'm going to do a lot of, and also the baller edition where I have no budget. I have unlimited money that I don't have in real life, but I have enough cards in Arena to get away with it. You know, like a playset of Cavern of Souls, you know, in my mice deck. You know, that card's like $50 to $70 depending on where you find it. And I'm playing a playset because I opened up a playset in Ixalan draft the random few times I did it. I'm playing Atali's Favor depending on how I'm feeling that day, which is an amazing thing. But either way, this set actually has me excited to play Standard again. So congratulations, Wizards of the Coast. Mainly the Bloomburrow dev team, R&D, the entire team that helped, even the artists, all the way from the artists to the people who designed this set, to R&D, to the play testers. You not just only hit a home run, you hit the ball out of the damn park. Nobody was able to catch it. That's how hard this home run was hit. Congratulations, kudos to you. I tip my hat off if I was wearing it, but I haven't shaved this week, so thank you for this set. Also, Wizards of the Coast, it genuinely has brought me back to the OG days of when I used to play like 30 some odd years ago when I started playing, and it's magic. I hope to be able to draft not only in Arena but in person this set a lot more than I've been able to draft any other product this year. Yeah, I'm not going to buy every Commander set. I only bought every Commander deck. I only bought the Squirrel deck because Chatterfang needed upgrades, and now everybody hates Chatterfang. No apologies. I still need to get the monsters, the creatures and monsters commander for Fallout to complete the Fallout commanders that I still haven't. That's the only one I haven't gotten yet, and I haven't found a good price on it, and I don't think I will until the end of the year. So it is what it is. That being said, I can't wait for them to mess this up with Duskmorrow. Yeah. Duskmorn, I mean. I can't wait for Wizards to 13 minutes, and I can't wait for Wizards to completely fuck this up with Duskmorrow because Duskmorn because yeah, they're TVs. You can't tell me they're not TVs otherwise. The set looks trash, straight trash. Great concept. Set looks straight trash. But I'm going to enjoy these 2 to 3 months of Bloomburrow. If you don't think I am, I am. I'm going to enjoy so much Bloomburrow. It's going to be amazing. I've already drafted an Arena 10 times, and I've had way more fails than successes. And in this set, the thing that kills me, the thing that gets me is, even if I don't have a good draft, and I didn't have a good draft in person either, I still have a smile on my face because I got to play the game. You know, it didn't feel like I got trounced for no reason the last couple of drafts that I've done with the last couple of sets, from Outlaws of Thunder Junction and Murders of Karlov Manor. It just feels like, with the way the set was designed, that you at least get to play the game, even if you didn't have a good draft. And I had a really good draft. I had 3 Take Out the Trashes and 3 copies of the Mage that gets to Offspring, and anytime I cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Like, you know, it just didn't happen. Like, my first opponent had blue-white flyers That's Blue-White Flyers, which was ridiculous deck, and he just got back into the game too because of Bloomburrow. So he's like, I just did what I knew, like Blue-White Azorius control Flyers, and I was like, it worked, buddy. My second opponent, she had a, God, I'm trying to remember. I forgot the deck, but it was definitely aggro based. I know it wasn't Burrow saying aggro, but it was still a great game. Both games I lost 2-1, so I won a game, best out of 3, and I lost 2 games. But except for like me getting mana screwed in the second round in one game, they were all close, and the deck got to do what it wanted to do. It's just my opponents just got to do it just a little bit faster, and that. For me, that makes all the difference in the world between what a great draft environment is and a bad draft environment is. So that is Bloomburrow, baby. My Mabel deck should be here this week. I mean, I purchased 43 cards. So I have a standard deck coming in again. So Duskmourn, I'm not looking forward to it at all. I'll be flat out. And the problem is, I should be the type of guy that should be 1,000% down for Duskmourn, considering I am a martial arts movie guy and a horror movie guy. I'm just not looking forward to it. And then the Monty Python Secret Lair is getting absolutely dunked on right now by the community. Not because of it being Monty Python and the Holy Grail set. Not because of the IP they're using. Actually, Prodigal Sorcerer has always been a blue creature that taps to deal 1 damage to any target. And we've always called it Tim the Sorcerer or Tim the Enchanter. Now, there's an official Magic the Gathering card, Tim the Enchanter. They call me Tim. And it's Prodigal Sorcerer. That's not the problem. The problem is that their new way of going about the secret lairs, which is print X amount, sell it on the day, and sell until it's sold out. Whereas it used to be print on demand. They drop the secret lair. You'd say you have 2 days or this amount of time to order it. You're not going to get it for 8 months because we still have to print it and all, but you'll get it. And I think they had a couple of hiccups with that, especially the coin flip commander, which took a year. Okay, it took a year. If you pre-ordered that secret lair, the coin flip commander deck, you did not receive it till well after, a year after you ordered it. So after taking some of those lumps, they decided to print first and then sell. And then when it's all sold out, no more. This particular secret lair sold out in an hour and a half, which is shorter than the movie that it's based on almost. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The secret lair sold out faster than the actual movie. And immediately is being scalped on eBay by the people who bought it, by the scalpers who bought it. So yes, that's why I don't mess with secret lairs that much, especially now. It's just a scalper's paradise. And you can, unless you know the exact moment that the secret lair is going to drop, you're not going to be able to get it. So that's why people are dunking on it. And I don't think Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast is in a good position here, because it is a lose-lose scenario. If they go back to the old ways of taking all the orders and then printing the cards, you're waiting 8 months, if not longer, for your stuff to arrive. And people have said that they forgot they ordered a secret lair, and next thing you know, it came in the mail, and they're like, I didn't order anything. And then they open it up and it jars their memory. Oh, I ordered this like half a year ago. To now, we're going to print 2,000, short example of this secret lair, and when it's sold, but you'll get it a couple days from now, as opposed to months. Where now it gets sold out immediately, and the general public that would buy it won't buy it anymore. And the scalper scumbags that pervade every aspect of life when it comes to online retail come out in droves and try to make their money. And Wizards is looking literally at the markups that these people are doing on eBay and various other auction sites, and you just tell that they don't like that either. They may actually jack the prices up because they can see how much they can get away with because people are going to buy it because they wanted it. So the consumer doesn't win in this scenario at all. Hasbro doesn't win in this scenario at all because there's no right answer. Unfortunately, we did the old way. The old way wasn't working, so we tried the new way. Now the new way ain't working, so now what do? It's one of the rare times you'll see me defend Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast on a situation like this. Because how can they win? To take a average number that they sold previously and then do it like that? What happens if it's a crappy secret lair like the Lord of the Rings animated? They're going to take a bath on those. Like honest truth, like they're still... Yes, Bloomburrow is doing fantastic right now, but they are still licking their chops because and healing their bruised egos because Murders at Karlov Manor was a catastrophe for this company. Commander Masters was too. And this all fell this year. They've had 2 or 3 real sets that did not perform at all. And on top of the year before that, where it was Baldur's Gate Commander Legends was a gigantic wet fart, which it shouldn't have been, but they priced themselves out of it being a great set because I've drafted that a bunch of times for Commander, and it's fun. It shouldn't have been the price that it was. If it wasn't the price that it was, I think it's a drastically different story. The price it is right now that you can get it hella cheap should have been the price it was. And that's not like me being consumerist or anything like that. Everybody took one crack at it in draft just to get that, just to experience it live, because the last Commander Master set happened when the world was shut down and we couldn't do it in person. So we all took one crack at it, knew it was overpriced, and said, all right, I'll buy a little bit more, but that's about it. So that's why that set failed. So they've had 3 sets in the last 2 years, and I can remember off the top of my balding head that did not go well for them. Oh, and also from what I've been hearing, the San Diego Comic-Con Secret Lair is also dealing with the same bullshit that the Monty Python Holy Grail Secret Lair is going through. So, you did great with Bloomburrow, but this one you couldn't kind of avoid, and it's really kind of not your fault, almost. As I said, there's no correct answer in this scenario. Moving on from Magic the Gathering, which the main crux of this podcast is about, we're getting into some more nerd stuff as I talk about Path of Exile 2. Path of Exile, Settlers of Kalguur, or also known as the boat season, and what I feel about it. I've been playing Path of Exile on and off since 2013 when it first went into beta, and there was only 1 or 2 acts, if that, in the game. The reason being, Diablo 3 at first was really bad. So bad that a lot of people I stopped playing when the real money auction house was still a thing, and it was quite a number of years before I played again, basically with the loot 2.0, 1.0, 2.0, whatever they called it. Whenever they drastically redid the game is when I got back into it, and that was mainly when they released it on console. I'd quite given up on PC gaming at that point, and I only played Diablo games on PC. That was about it. I might play Fallout 4 with a controller on PC just for mod support because it's a little bit better than the Series X. And seriously, why can't I only do 2 gig of mods on Series X? I mean, they've already said it won't be that hard to make it as much as we want, and that's another topic for another day, and I've already talked about it. But Path of Exile, played it on and off, really enjoyed it when it came on Xbox One. Played it launch day, and kind of had to deal with being not supported well, not being thought of last, not having great netcode or support or anything really, good load times. Still soldiered on when it dropped and played for a couple more years. And last like 4 years, I haven't played as much, but I'll play a season every now and again. And I got back into it in a Necropolis League for a week and realized Necropolis League was really bad. But then they, as I said earlier in previous podcasts, Boat League came out or was coming out, and it was a radical difference in the game. So many notes, and it took Zizarin, probably the biggest Path of Exile streamer, 3 hours to talk about, to go through all of the patch notes. That's how massive this was. It was a massive change in the game. Again, they've done it before, but now they reworked a lot of things, and they reworked melee. You would think in this game, an action RPG, your melee classes would be up front, hitting things with a big stick or a big sword or whatever. Not so much in the case. Last couple of years in Path of Exile, the biggest melee class was these things called totems. And you can have totems that say I have bash. Like my skill is just bash. I just bash my weapon at the enemy. I can have totems set up that do that bash. So you would have like 5 or 6 totems. You would get into an encounter, 5 or 6 totem it up, and then just let them do it while you just sat there kind of doing nothing. Melee was severely, and you couldn't jump in the fray either because you did no damage. Your totems did hella damage, but you yourself did not do damage. So they reworked that where damage feels great now, and I've been playing the Boat League, and oh my god, it is the deepest I've ever gotten in Path of Exile. There's the first 10 acts of the game. Then there's maps, and that's the end game content. Maps is basically the second part of the game, where now the second big bad enemy that you have to fight through is encountered. But now that we're talking about a game that's been out for 11 years and has had 11 years of content and occasional bloatware with that content, because a lot of the leagues that Path of Exile do stick around for future leagues, and I think they got rid of a few that just don't matter this time too. That's a big important thing. But it gets to be the content bloat of the first 10 acts, and then the world opens up and you get confused. I get lost in the sauce all the time with this game still, and I've been playing it on and off for almost its inception. And I still don't know anything. I'm not a hardcore Path of Exile player. I am a super casual, especially playing on console, which doesn't get enough love, which only just recently, and I think in the last year, got the league the same day as PC. Because what would happen before is console players would get the league 3 to 5 days after PC players. But now we're in parity almost. People want crossplay, don't see it happening. But the economies are different. You can get stuff way cheaper in Path of Exile. And by economy, I mean you have like your item scrolls, your portal scrolls, your make this weapon, a rare, like from normal to magic or normal to rare. You use these things as currency. You don't buy gold or whatnot in this game. They tried their best to make it, but after a couple of years, people realized that you could, farm things and then sell it online. But, it's not as prevalent as it is in, say, Diablo or even MMOs like Final Fantasy 14 or even, World of Warcraft still with gold mining. But the currency is basically a barter system. But consoles are definitely skewered higher priced on everything because of the low player base. But this season's been fantastic. This season has been fantastic. I was going to do a lacerate gladiator. Right now it's a sundering gladiator because it's one of my small complaints about Path of Exile build guides. You definitely, if you want to get in the game, look up a build guide for the love of all that is holy. Do yourself a favor. Save yourself broken controllers, numerous headaches, and maybe relapsing into either smoking cigarettes or drinking again. I've done all of these playing Path of Exile because I was stubborn and decided to do this game without a build guide. Don't. It is too much to not at least do a league starter. Like a starter guide, like the one I tried, and way too late realized that, why did this get called a starter guide? I need a belt and a gem. How it works in Path of Exile, your character itself does not have abilities. You get abilities from your weapons and your armor having slots in them that you could put gems in of a certain color as long as it matches an item in your a slot in your armor or your weapon and whatnot. The gem that is required for this league starter, you have to basically roll a 1 in 20,000 chance. You know, I'm making a number up to get. They cost the most numerous amounts of the most expensive currency in the game. Not the most expensive currency, but the one mainly used. There's Chaos Orbs, which enchant a normal item re-rolls your rare items numbers. So say you got like strength of 10 or damage of 20, you can use a Chaos Orb to re-roll all of those numbers. Those, I will put it into a scenario that you might be able to understand a little easier, and I've done it before. A Chaos Orb is $1. Okay, but we'll just say it like, just, it's not, you can't buy them in game for $1, but I'm just saying it's $1. We'll just do that. Divine Orbs would be $100. Okay. This particular gem I need right now on console is going for 80 Chaos Orbs. So that's like $80 right there. The belt needed to require to make the build flow and do all the true end game content costs 80 divine right now. No, not 80. Costs 10 to 15 divine, I think, right now, from what I've seen. Divines drop at endgame content, or if you get lucky and you get a random drop. I've had ways of making money in this, of making currency in this game to fund my build. And right now I am in this weird mix because the belt and the gem I need in this weird state of flux where I am a Sunder build with bleed. Basically, you want your targets to have an AoE effect of bleeding out. So damage over time. But I can't do the true build yet. But I spec'd all my skill points into the build. So I'm in a weird position right now because I don't have the ability to purchase it. I have the ability to grind for it. And I have a way I might be able to get the belt. But the gem is a different story. I can save my money and buy the gem at some point. It's going to take a lot of grinding to get the belt. So much so that the current way I play, it might be end of season till I get this belt. So right now, I am a Sunder Gladiator specking into, in the future, a bleed, lacerate build. So way more damage over time is my key, is my end goal. Right now, I'm at a high average damage over time. I'm trying to get to the highest level of damage over time. But this was listed as a starter build, and usually, and it could be because I'm out of touch because it's been a while since I've actually taken the game seriously, the starter builds usually are almost no cost. You can basically get the gems from the vendors in-game over the course of the 10 acts and get your build and at least get you into maps to start getting some things. That being said, though, I have had a blast playing the Boat League. I've got super into the actual league mechanic of the village, of the Settlers of Kalguur, King's March. I've super gotten into it. I got a little miffed that the highest level of ore that I needed that appear at random in maps that I could mine didn't appear at all in one of my the play session I had yesterday, that's what I did. I grinded that, and it in 10 hours of play. Yes, 10 hours. Didn't pop once. And when it did, I tried to mine it, and then a creature hit me, taking me off of it, and I let the button go so I didn't die, and then I couldn't mine. So that's a bit of a complaint right there. But what else did I have? I've never realized also. Oh, well, we won't talk about that yet. It's the furthest I've gotten in the season so far by far. Yeah, that's the last talking point I have to do. I never realized how casual, unfriendly Path of Exile is with what I've already gone through with the builds. Like, it's a massive ability board. Then when you get to end games with the maps, where you put maps that generate into zones that you can play, that has its own skill allocations. You can also alter the maps in such a way to make other things happen. Then there's all the extra content from previous seasons. I've been playing a lot of the Blight stuff, which basically is tower defense. And I finally got around to getting a proper ring, because my 2 rings needed certain enchantments on it that don't affect it except for Blight stuff. So I wound up doing that, got a lot of Blights. Blights appear in every endgame map that I do. So that's the type of gameplay I like, and I'm digging. But yeah, like, there's that. There's the endgame. Then there's the 5 endgame bosses that appear, or 3 or 4. I don't know. I'm currently having to deal with 3. So, and I'm not even at the end of mapping. So it is a very casual, unfriendly game, but it is probably one of the best action RPG Diablo clones ever made. And I highly recommend, if you get into it, it's free to play. But you can't trade. You can trade, but you can't put stuff up for auction unless you pay for a specific tab. You get 4 stash tabs in the game. The people have played the game with 4 stash tabs. I play 4 stash tabs on PC whenever I can manage it. And people have gotten through the entire game without the ability of buying or trading. Yeah, without trading. I've been playing so long, I have tabs for currency. I have tabs for the maps. I have tabs for just the 2 biggest things I have is the currency map and the tab map. That's required. But I also have like 5 other tabs that I can put stuff up for sale, and that's it. And I acquired those over the course of years. But you can play the game for free. It's been free to play since day one, and it's not pay to win either, technically speaking, because people have proven that you can beat every bit of content in the game with just the 4 stash tabs. But it does make your life easier paying for at least a stash tab or 2. I would say if you wanted to put minimum investment into the game and you wanted to drop like $10 on it after a couple of hours of playing, and you realize, invest in the currency tab and invest in 1 premium stash tab, just so you can offload some stuff. That's it. That'll get you going for a little bit. Premium stash tab basically makes one of your stash tabs the ability to have your own little auction part that everything else is taken care of by the actual trade market in game. So you look up the trade market, you look up what item you want, you find it, you can list a price for it, you cannot list a price for it, which a lot of people on console do. I list everything that I've gotten, but not because I'm like, what happens in console is I'll list something for this price, somebody will give me an offer, and then I'll reject it. Well, I won't do this, but other people will. They will reject the offer and say, no, I want 10 for that instead. No, everything I've listed for a price is the price that you want. And if you barter with me, I'll take it anyway, because it's just sitting there collecting dust. Now, that being on the other hand, when it comes to stacked decks, which is a currency item in the game that doesn't drop too often on console players, but if you have a correct Blight build, they will. So I've been selling those for a decent chunk that's been kind of funding me and upgrading into the Sundering part. But I'm having a blast playing Path of Exile as I ramble on and on and on and on and on and on. That's why y'all come here, for the rambling. Whew. Now, today, I recorded this, August 6th. Diablo 4 Season 5 dropped about 3 hours ago. No, 4 hours ago. I got to play 2.5 hours of it, just about. I had to do some editing real quick, and then I jumped in. I'm going to have to do some editing again and eat dinner, and then I can get back to playing Diablo Season 5. Diablo 4 Season 5. The Infernal Hordes, I've played for 2.5 hours. From what I've seen and read, and with the fireside chats and the patch notes, Infernal Hordes is wave-based endgame with burning aethers for boons or banes, that the deeper you get, the more you can either pump yourself up for less rewards or give yourself penalties for more rewards. Hellbreach dungeons have this similar mechanic. My only thing is I've done a few of them, part of the story, and the bosses have a chance to one-hit you. I'm playing World Tier 2, but they have the chance to one-hit you, which isn't out of the question, but I don't know how I got one hit. Sometimes it just happens because they stood there and breathed on me, and I'm not even joking. I didn't see any animation for a hit. I didn't see any spell being cast. I didn't see any gratuitous graphical effects of carnage coming my way. I just died on the boss fight for no reason. I wasn't getting poisoned. I wasn't having damage over time. I wasn't doing any of those things except spinning to win because I'm playing Barbarian, as I always do for my first build, unless they've changed a class massively in Diablo, like Necro last season. But this season, Barbarian, Whirlwind, as always, since Diablo 3. And I'm playing that because I don't think I'm going to roll a second character this season. Then, quality of life changes, which are numerous. I'm only going to go for a few here. Level cap for XP is raised from 10 to 30, meaning, say I'm level 60 and I kill a level 80 monster. I will now get the level 80 XP for that kill as opposed to only getting a level 70 kill. This should help you level faster because me and so many others have played this game so much. We will be in World Tier 2 till today. We will be in World Tier 3 probably tonight, getting into World Tier 4 already for the top streamers, and for me, I will be in World Tier 4 probably some point tomorrow night. So I'll be at the highest difficulty of the game already by tomorrow night. This is just to get us there a little faster. Uniques now have a purple light beam when they drop, so they don't look like nothing anymore. It's a very distinctive sound, and it is also it's purple light beam now for the unique named items. Adjusted all uniques to better have them for the skills that they support. So no longer will you have like a barbarian thing dropping with like 10,000 intelligence. That's a bad example, but it'll actually be for the skills that particular unique supports. Along with 50 new uniques this season. More tempering chances with greater affixes, meaning for every greater affix your equipment or weapon has, or item has, you get one extra shot at tempering. There's a limit to how many times you can temper an item, and tempering is basically adding new abilities to items, or more abilities to items. You only get X amount of rolls until you can't do that anymore, and if you didn't roll correctly on the temper, that armor is kind of screwed. So if you have for every greater affix, which is like strength normally on this item is 500, but if you have a greater affix on that, your strength will now be 700. For every one of those that you have on there, you get an extra reroll. World bosses are harder to kill. I do like this. We'll get into it in a bit when I tell you what I've done in the 2.5 hours. of playing so far. I like it because world bosses kind of were a joke and are a joke. You play them every now and again when you're leveling to get the hunter and get the greater caches. And then after that, you don't really encounter them anymore because they take 2 seconds to kill. There are some seasons where they didn't even get an attack in and they were dead. I no longer need to leave the dungeon for endgame bosses, which is great because you don't have to reset the dungeon. You can just immediately pop and even leave the dungeon to get the end bosses, like the Uber bosses and whatnot. You can just pop in whatever materials you need to spawn it again and do it again. So I like that so much. Now, I've played 2.5 hours of Season 5. 2.5 hours. I know some people have already played way more than that, and I know some people who have played 2.5 hours have already leveled out. There's ways to do it. It's the dopamine tunnels. Look it up. You can go from 1 to 100 very fast, and especially if you have people with you. In 2 hours of play, killed a world boss with random people there. That took about 4 minutes, and they said it was easier, but it was basically me at a level 35, and I was level 21 at the time, doing the bulk of the damage. And because it was the Wandering Death, I've encountered this world boss numerous times. I know all the mechanics. I know how to get the hell out of the way. I know when to run, when to dive, when to spin the win until I have no more ability to spin the win left, and then heal back up and do it again. We were surrounded by level 10s and 4s and 7s and 3s, and I looked at the roster of people around Ashiva before it spawned, and I was like, we're not doing this. We're not. I've never had this many low level, and I'm low level too. I shouldn't be doing this boss at 21. Because every person that's added on makes the world boss stronger. So, yeah, I'm like, all right, we're not going to do this, but let's see what happens. After about 5.5 minutes, we got it. We beat the boss. So much for making them easier. I mean, so much for making them harder. I've never had so many single-digit levels in a world boss encounter before and been successful in beating the world boss. Or where I just give up and be like, all right, well, we've been at it for 5 minutes and we barely got 1/8 of its health bar done. 10 more minutes left, not going to happen. Let's go. Hit level 25 by the end of it. Done half of the season story already, which is actually kind of cool and a throwback to not just something that happened in the storyline, but also something that's happening in the future with Vessel of Hatred coming out in October. Acquired low-level legendaries and 1 unique that's going to carry me to World Tier 3. I know the unique is going to... I'm going to have that till I hit the next World Tier. Cashed in a Grim Favors already. Killed a Helltide boss or 2. Killed 2 Blood Maidens, which is the Helltide super uber bosses. Cashed in 4 tortured gifts in the Helltides, which is basically, you get kills and you get a point for a kill, and then you can submit it World Tier 2, 75 points to open up a treasure chest when you encounter it to get some gear. I've already cashed in 4 of those. Completed Chapter 1 of Season Journey, which there's 9 chapters or 10, without even trying. So that was in 2.5 hours. Now, there's going to be an escalation between the season journey and whatnot. That's going to take me a bit. But overall, I kind of get the feeling, especially in the storyline with the tease of what the end game content is going to be, I'm not playing this. I'm not playing the season long. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to get 100. I'm going to finish out my season journey. I'm going to do all the storylines and whatnot, which I'm already halfway done. I'm going to max everything out. I'm going to get an Uber kill or 2 in, and then I'm going to go right back to Path of Exile. I already kind of know that. Or start playing Call of Duty again. Who knows? Yeah, because Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was now available on Game Pass, and I played it last week for the first time I've played a Call of Duty game in a couple of years, and I was like, my skills have deteriorated. And apparently, no, they haven't. I'm not absolute dog shit in Call of Duty anymore. That being said, though, I don't know if I'm going to play Season 5 all that much, especially the first part, because I know in October, which is only in 2 months, but the season's going to be 3, the new expansion drops. So Spiritborn I'm going to have to play as well. We're about done here. We're almost at an hour. We've talked Magic. We've talked Path of Exile. We've talked Diablo 4 Season 5 that I'm already forgetting. My name is Dom Douglas, the back-to-back commentator of the year for Extreme World Wrestling, XWW, on YouTube as well. Thanking you for watching the channel. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the views. Much love to everybody out there. And big shout outs to XWW as well for letting me do this podcast. Finally, may your top deck always be mythic. I'm going to get back to the grind on Diablo 4.